Välkomna till Teach Me Sweden, en podcast där vi blandar historia och humor. Två komiker försöker lära varandra svensk historia. En för att han kommer från USA och en för att han inte lyssnade på lektionen. Jag heter Erik Broström.
And I'm Jonathan Rollins. And in this episode, I'll be teaching Erik about a guy who just wanted it all.
Yeah, ni kommer få höra många siffror!
Yes.
Och vad man ska satsa på i Vegas.
Yes, man.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't match,
oh,
I don't want anything to do with it.
Oh,
let's go.
Strike it. Jag blev så rädd. Jag såg dig. Du satt där.
Welcome, everyone, to our little podcast.
Jag tror du sa välkommen till mig. Jag var tack.
Welcome, Erik.
Tack, välkommen, Jonathan.
And welcome, listeners. In this podcast that is a Swedish History podcast, but not like any other Swedish History podcast.
Nej, för att
we're not historians.
Fakta är inte viktigt här.
No, I mean, everything's right.
Yes.
Everything's right, but we're gonna make it fun.
Tell a good story, but make it fun with jokes.
Yeah. It's gonna be some jokes in here. It's gonna be some history. When you're done with this podcast, when you go and press okay to delete it out of your file or whatever, you're gonna say, I've learned and I've laughed.
I LL'd. Yeah. Jag lyssnade på en podcast med Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend. Och Jason Segel var gäst. Han var känd från How I Met Your Mother bland annat. Han skrev ju Forgetting Sarah Marshall. Och där Judd Apatow, han frågade honom vad ska jag tänka på när jag skriver den här, och då sa Judd Apatow, don't write it as a comedy, write it as a drama and you'll find the funny, because you're a funny guy. Yeah. You have the funny bones. Vilket jag gillar. Och det är det vi vill inte göra här. Vi försöker berätta en historisk händelse, men så måste vi få skämta också.
Yeah, because the jokes, they're not on me here.
No.
I'm just telling, in this episode, I'm just telling you a history story that I have
Exakt.
translated and written down.
Det är där vi är. Jag är spänd. I'm psyched, man.
Well, let's get into it. This one was suggested by myself.
Oh, really?
I just went looking for something, man. I'll tell you at the end. Remind me at the end to tell you what I searched for to find this guy.
Well, shout out to you, man.
Yes. But if y'all have suggestions, hit us up.
Yes.
You can send them to teachmesweden@gmail.com. And if you want Erik to do it, send it in Swedish. And if you want me to do it, send it in English. Whenever I see it, or whoever is in the email inbox sees it in English, it goes to me. Sees it in Swedish, it goes to Erik.
Exakt.
I don't even read it.
I don't even look at it.
All right. Well, let's get into it, man. On March 2nd, 1880.
I've heard this.
Damn it. March 2nd, 1880, Ivar Kreuger was born. You heard that name before?
Ivar Kreuger? No.
Born in the city of Kalmar. You ever heard of the city of Kalmar?
No. Yes, I have.
So you have.
Jag har varit i Kalmar. Jag tror jag har varit i Kalmar.
Okay. He was born to a match industrialist named Ernst August Kreuger. This is about Ernst from Channel 4.
Oh!
I'm just kidding.
He just became Kirchsteiger because he thought his name was
exactly
not too much as Schwarzenegger.
It was Ernst August Kreuger. And he was a match industrialist. And the mother was Jenny Emily Kreuger, who was a woman. Ivar had 5 siblings, and he was the oldest boy. He was a smart kid, took private lessons outside of his normal schooling, and in turn skipped 2 grades.
Whoa!
Yeah. I got offered to skip a grade when I was in school.
I was ordered to go through
do
the
a grade again.
steps. No, I didn't. But.
No, but they gave us that option.
Okay.
And then we turned it down. My mom was like, you already, with a summer birthday, you're younger than everybody already, and now you'll be a year younger than.
Oh, nej, det är inget bra. Nej.
Yeah, so I'm kind of glad she did that. And then I graduated in 2000, so that was cool too.
Yeah.
To be the class of 2000.
Jag gick också ut 2000, men det är olika system.
Yeah. So yeah, he skipped those 2 grades. At the young age of 16, he started taking classes at KTH.
Oh, fuck! Och det fanns. Ja, det är klart det fanns.
Yeah. Kungliga. He was 20 years old when he graduated with 2 master degrees.
Jesus Christ!
Nerd alert!
Vadå nerd alert? Fan jävla genius.
Yeah, he's a little genius.
Vet du vad det här? Jag ska inte spoila det här, men jag vet vart det här är på väg. Matrix. Och han är bara...
It's Neo.
Han bara, I know quantum physics.
I know kung fu.
Do you want some more? Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. His degrees were in mechanical engineering and civil engineering.
Okay.
Smart guy. That's not easy shit.
I guess.
It's like numbers and stuff.
I kan inte.
It's engines. It's when you make engines, listen to things. It's engine hearing.
Yeah. Jesus.
I'm childish.
I can speak to everyone.
Even engines.
Oh, herregud.
Ivar had a woman in his life.
Hur?
In his young adult life.
Han pluggar hela tiden. Jag säger inte att han inte hade det för att han var nörd. Jag säger att han pluggar hela tiden.
But as a young adult, this is the story of the first incel. No, I'm just kidding. As a young adult, he had a woman in his life named Ingeborg Hessler. They met in 1913. She wanted to get serious, especially back then. You want to meet a guy, get married. You see this genius dude whose father's a match industrialist. She's like, oh, let's get married. But he didn't. He was focused on business.
Yeah.
He didn't want to go in on a family and stuff. He's focused on business. He wanted to make a name for himself in the business world.
Okay.
So Ingeborg was like, fuck that. Broke off the relationship in 1917, 4 years later.
Good for him. Good for her.
There's a quick side story I want to throw in that I found out. Sometimes you've seen this when you research and you find a little gem. And he's like, oh shit. Well, this is one.
Okay.
Ingeborg was kind of a badass. She left Ivar because she wanted to start a family, and he was focused on business. So she was like, fuck this guy. And then she met and married a guy from Denmark. She had a baby with this guy. Then she got tired of that guy. I was like, you know what? I'm going back to Sweden. You're from Denmark.
You're from Denmark.
We can't stay together. So she went back to Sweden with the baby.
Yeah.
The guy comes to Stockholm where she lives, kidnaps the baby.
Holy moly.
She's like, I'm gonna hang out with the kid. Goes back to Denmark with the kid. And she's like, what the fuck? And I'm guessing that he was like, she'll come back and we'll be together type of thing. She goes back to Denmark, grabs the kid, rents a private fishing boat, brings the kid back to Sweden. Like, fuck that. We're staying here.
Wow.
Yeah.
Och hur många gånger upprepades det här?
Last one was last year. No. That was the, I just found that. I saw that story. I thought I wanted to tell you that. Anyway, Kreuger was off and on with Ingeborg throughout his life. They were just like off and on. No kids or anything, but
de hade lite KK.
Or like they were serious, and then she probably tired of him being his, and then she move on or whatever. She seemed like she needs some attention.
Okay.
She need to be taken care of. Like
hon vet att hon har Ivar.
Yeah, exactly.
Hon har den här nörden. Han är Forrest Gump. Och hon är Jenny.
Oh yes.
Han bara, men jag vill hänga med hippies. Jag vill hänga med cockheads.
I have 2 degrees.
Yeah.
I have a master's.
And technical engineering.
And civil engineering. If somebody fucks with you and get bored, I won't be civil.
But I won't marry you. Because I
focus on my shrimp company.
Got my career to think about. Herregud, vi är där igen. I love it.
As always, that's our thing. Okay, so around 1900, Kreuger, he spent 7 years traveling and working abroad.
Oj.
As an engineer.
Över olika länder liksom.
US,
nice.
Mexico,
bra land.
South Africa,
bra där.
Other countries as well.
Cool.
But he spent most of that time in the US.
Okay.
In South Africa, he ran a restaurant for a short while.
Varför då? Han hade ju alla de där degreesen ju.
Yeah, but he's just like, you know what, let's run a restaurant.
Was it a shrimp company?
It was called Bubba Gump. No. It was with his friend Anders.
Oh. Okay.
They were in the jungle together, and Anders said, "You sleep with your head against mine, I'm gonna sleep with my head up." That way we don't have to sleep with our heads up in the mud. Anders Jordahl is his name.
Oh.
And they did the restaurant thing for a bit, and then they sold it.
Så det känns som att han testar lite olika grejer. Han har examen i ingenjör, olika ingenjörsexamen, men han är ändå så här, nej men fan driver en restaurang i USA.
Yeah?
Ja.
Cool. No, South Africa.
South Africa, okay.
At an early age, he came in contact with the patented Khan system, K-A-H-N, not C-O-N.
K-A...
Khan. Yeah, almost like the popular Saudi name, you know what I mean? Khan.
Khan, like in Star Trek?
I guess.
The Wrath of Khan?
It's the system that they had that was for concrete steel constructions. And it was used by Julius Khan's Trusted Concrete Steel Company.
Okay.
And that was he found out about that, and this technique had not been introduced in Sweden at the time. So in 1907, he managed to get the representative rights for that system.
Ooh.
For both Sweden and Germany.
Oj.
And at the end of 1907, he returned to Sweden with the goal of introducing the new methods in both countries
Hade de någon...
at the same time.
Wow! Men han hette ju Kreuger. Hade han något tyskt påbrå innan han... Alltså han föddes ju här, men Kreuger är väldigt tyskt.
It sounds like it, but I didn't see anything.
Okay, cool.
I didn't see where his father was from.
Okay. Det känns ju som
and
att...
it was the late 1800s that he was born, so I don't know. But possible. At that time, one of the experts in Sweden in concrete steel constructions was his cousin, Henrik Kreuger. And he was working at KTH.
Yeah.
So in May, the next year, 1908, Kreuger formed the construction firm Kreuger och Toll in Sweden with the engineer Paul Toll. And Paul was working for a construction company, Kasper Höglund, and his cousin Henrik was on board as well, working at the at KTH as the faculty of civil engineering, as a consultant engineer. And then in Germany, he formed a company there so that he can get this whole steel process out. The construction method of constructing buildings was not fully accepted in Sweden because it's fucking Sweden.
Yes.
And they're like, no, we still put potatoes in the windows here.
Vadå? Nytt sätt?
Nej, vi gör som vi gör.
Ja, det är ju det vi gör.
So, in order to market the new technique, he held a bunch of lectures, because that's how you get through the Swedes.
Yes.
And he wrote an illustrated article on the subject in a leading engineering magazine that was called Teknisk Tidskrift.
Och vad var grejen? Vad var det här grejen var? Liksom?
I didn't get I don't know that much engineering stuff.
No, what? Well, så får vi starta en till podd.
All right.
Teach me engineer. Okay.
So, however, even though I don't know, I do know that the new technology was a success, and their firm won several prestigious contracts, such as the construction of the Stockholm Olympic Stadium.
Ooh, det är det som är stadion nu, va?
In 1911 to 1912, I don't know.
Lite jävligt, det ligger precis vid KTH också. It's very close.
I know the stop, but I didn't know that that's the Stockholm Olympic Stadium. Okay.
Yeah.
In 1911.
Jag antar det.
And foundation work for the new Stockholm City Hall, 1912, 1913, and
Jesus,
a certain department store everybody's probably seen before.
NK!
Yes.
NK.
They did that one too in Stockholm.
Cool.
The chief engineer behind all of those projects was Erik Broström.
Okay.
So innovation in the construction business also included a definite commitment to finish the building on time. At the time, the financial risk of delays were assumed by the clients, which is bananas. Hey, we're going to be late. You're going to owe us more money.
Wow.
That's how it went back then. Sorry, man. We're running behind, so...
it's going to cost you.
It's like, man, I had to pay extra because they're running late.
Yeah.
What?
Förlåt, vad gör ni? vi fikar. Ja, är ni klara i tid? Nej. Så hämta, get more money.
Exactly. So Kreuger and Toll, this company was like, you know what? We commit to finish projects by a certain date.
Wow.
Thus shifting the risk to the builder themselves, who is in the best position to reduce delays.
Yes.
And then they won a contract. An example of that is they won a contract to build a 6-story, and then they called it a skyscraper back then.
Svenskar. They're so cute.
Can you build us a skyscraper?
Ja, vi kan bygga en skyskrapa, men du vet hur himlen bara är ungefär 12 meter upp i luften. Så att alltså, det kommer se konstigt ut, men himlen är högre i New York. Så det är en skyskrapa.
The Swedish sky.
The Swedish sky so low.
I mean, technically it does scrape it.
Yes. Tänk när dimman kommer där på hösten, då känns det verkligen som att himlen är där. Ja.
Nu förstår jag, såklart.
Så skrapa skyn där. Ja.
So he was going to build this 6-story skyscraper, right?
Yep.
And he promised that if construction was not finished by a particular date, Kreuger and Toll would give the client a partial refund of roughly 12,000 crowns per day, which today is 180,000 crowns.
Holy shit.
For each late day.
Whoa.
And at the time, Kreuger and Toll's entire capital would have covered just 2 days of being late.
Wow.
So that was quite the gamble.
Mm-hmm.
The client in turn agreed to pay a bonus for every day the building was finished before the due date.
Och han visste att han hade en bra metod här. Yeah, man.
So they're like, you know what? We want to give money away anyway because that was the old way.
Yep.
So we'll see you and we'll give you extra money if you're
Wow. Så hur mycket tidigare blev de klara?
They finished early.
Yeah.
They didn't say how much money it was, but they finished early, and subsequently they earned bonuses for every single project they did.
Shit.
They were always early.
Yeah.
And within a few years, Kreuger and Toll was seen as the best building company in Sweden and one of the top firms in all of Europe.
Wow.
Yeah, this guy's doing it, man.
Yeah.
Within 6 years after its incorporation, Kreuger and Toll earned annual profits of around 2 million crowns.
Shit.
And they were paying a substantial dividend of 15%. In 1917, they split into 2 companies, Kreuger and Toll Construction, albeit, owned mostly by Paul Toll. And Ivar Kreuger wasn't even among the board members in the construction company. And it hadn't been revealed then how much Ivar owned, but that Paul Toll owned it himself.
Okay.
He owned 60% of it in 1917. Kreuger and Toll has never shown up at any of Kreuger and Toll Holdings organizational charts. So they kept it separate, but why?
Yeah. Lite fishy, eller?
Mm.
Men och vad gjorde Ivar då om han inte liksom ens var där?
Oh, Ivar was working on other stuff. He didn't just focus, just like he had that cafe. You know what I mean? He's you'll see.
Okay.
But he kept Kreuger and Toll Holdings.
Yeah.
And that became his financial holding company. Mm-hmm. With himself as the general manager and major shareholder.
Okay.
So this is his thing.
Yeah.
So as far as the holding company, you know, that's just like to make financial moves.
Yeah.
And he controlled it with a tight grip. The board of directors consisted of Ivar, his father, and Paul Toll, and 2 very close colleagues. So it's not like they had this broad board.
Yeah.
And once he got involved in his father's match factories in Kalmar.
Match?
Because he was an industrial match. That's what I said.
Yeah, okay.
At the beginning.
Yeah.
So he got more focused on constructing new companies or taking control of other companies.
Yeah.
Usually paying with his own securities instead of cash. Mm-hmm. So he's just like, no, I have this, which is worth this. So he's like using assets, and it's like Trump before Trump.
Yeah. Moving money around that is kind of yours, but not really.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But he wasn't using, back then they used to use buildings and bridges was kind of the thing they did. So there's like, I got this bridge, so, I know this is a physical thing you have. But he's saying, I have this company, and it's worth what I told you it's worth. You know what I mean?
Yep. Okay.
Thus, by 1927, Ivar had bought banks, mining companies, railways,
holy shit,
timber and paper firms, film distributors, real estate in several European cities, as well as a controlling stake in Ericsson, the new phone company back then. And it was Sweden's leading phone company.
What are you going to do with all that shit?
He controlled about 50% of the world market in iron.
Okay,
And cellulose.
Yep.
He owned mines all over the world, including one called Boliden in Sweden. Which had one of the richest gold deposits outside of South Africa, in addition to other minerals. Kreuger formed Swedish Match.
Oh, shit.
He merged his father's business with other match factories that he quietly bought during World War I. So he's like, hey, man, y'all need some money? I got you. So he's coming in and buying. The initial capital was about 1.5 billion back then.
Yeah.
I mean, no, 1.5 billion now.
Yeah.
But it was 100 million back then.
Yeah.
And Ivar owned half of it. Wow. Shit. And he held all senior positions and controlled the board of directors.
Ja, jag förstår varför han inte skaffar en fru.
Yeah, it's busy.
Var ingen tid är
busy.
Något, men upptagen inte ens förnamnet. Hur fan ska han orka? Hur orkar man? Han kan ju inte sova. Han är en sån där som aldrig sover.
He's gotta be. Wake up 3 in the morning, go to the gym.
Yeah. Go to bed 2 a.m. Go up 3 a.m.
Yeah. Get started.
Crazy.
He had a Swedish banker on his that he hung out with named Oscar Rydbeck. And Rydbeck started teaching him about finances. Like all the stuff you can do with money.
Yeah. Det känns som att han hade ett bra grepp på det ändå. Men
he knew how to
invest
take over companies.
Yeah.
But Oscar was like teaching him how money works.
Okay.
Internationally as well.
Kanske en läxa man inte borde lära en sån person.
No, I don't know.
Okay.
He worked for Kreuger and Toll as a consultant.
Okay.
As far back as 1912. So we're getting into... So that was a long time.
Yeah.
In 1911 and 1912, the Kreuger family match factories in Kalmar, Fredriksdal, and Mönsterås was run by his father, Ernst Kreuger, uncle Fredrik, and brother Torsten. And they had some financial problems. Oscar Rydbeck got with him and said, let's turn the factories into a stock corporation and make some more money, more capital. And this was the starting point for the reformation of the Swedish match industry, as well as major match companies in Norway and Finland.
Wow.
And their goal, of course, his goal was to control the entire match industry in Scandinavia.
Yeah.
And they used the family match factories as their base. And then they founded, albeit Kalmar Mönsterås Tandsticksfabrik.
Yeah.
In 1912. And he made his father and his brother and his uncle the major shareholders, so he's keeping the money in the family. And Torsten was the general manager, and he became a board member, of course. And then he merged this company with small match companies all over Sweden. Just starts buying them up, basically. And then...
Var det då Rickard Tändare kom med en ny uppfinning?
And then they merged, and now they own fire.
You have these wooden sticks? Okay, look at this. No!
And then they went after the largest match company in Sweden, albeit Jönköping Vulcan. Speaking of Star Wars.
That's a good name.
Yeah.
Vulkan.
And then Svenska Tändsticks, albeit. Which is called Swedish Match Abroad, and they founded that after they took over that AB Jönköping Vulcan.
Yeah,
and Swedish Match was founded in 1917.
Yeah.
But he had tried to get them back in 1912 when they were initially grabbing stuff.
Yeah.
But they weren't interested in Vulcan. But that was the dominating company in Sweden. So, but the Vulcan was like, what will we?
We have a cool name. Vi
Exactly.
Vulkan.
Yeah.
Eld. We're not backing up.
Jönköping Vulkan, is that how you say it?
Nej, men jag vet. Det beror på hur det stavas, men
VULCAN, yeah.
Well, that's Vulcan, but I guess
Okay.
I don't know. In this time period, maybe Vulkan was I don't know. Whatever.
Who knows? So Ivar, after 1912, they got shut down by Vulcan, and Vulcan wasn't even interested. And then Ivar started acquiring all of them around, as well as the raw material companies he can get too.
Yeah.
So he's like getting everything match-ish.
Yeah.
And then he finally got them to accept the merger. And he was so persuasive in arguing for the merger that he managed to overvalue his side of the deal.
Oh.
Like saying, hey, we have this much money. And they're like, wow, you got this much money?
And he lied?
He was not telling the truth. And this worked. So he was able, as the smaller company, to buy
a larger
company and add that to his thing. So then he decided to make this his prime tactic.
So that's how money works.
Hey, Oscar. Thanks, bro.
Jag hade bara behövt säga ljug.
Yeah. So then him and Rybak came together and was like, it's a pretty good idea, man. This could be our strategy.
Oh my God.
So the total number of shares in the new company was 450,000, which Kreuger earned 223,000 of them. So he owns half of, and it's just like the biggest in Scandinavia.
Yeah.
And then he also has the holding company, Kreuger and Toll.
Yeah.
Och där har han ju
massa pengar där.
So this company group now covered the entire match industry in Sweden, including all the major companies that manufacture the production machines used in the factory. Total number of employees working in match production in Sweden in 1917 was around 9,000. And it had control over major companies supplying raw material for the match industry as well. So he owns pretty much everything.
Men vad gjorde han på en lördagkväll då?
He had the largest match company in Norway. He had the one in Finland. And he introduced a new way of thinking in the Swedish match industry with large-scale production facilities. Of course you could do that. You got all this fucking money. As well as ideas to increase efficiency in production, administration, distributing, and marketing. So he's using his engineer background along with his lying to buy him up, but he's still improving the process.
Hans nästa företag heter Lying in Engineering.
And there was a German chemist that invented phosphorus matches in 1832. But it's dangerous because yellow phosphorus was poisonous. And it was in the match head and thus could easily light by accident. So it's like, it's no bueno. So in Sweden, they improved the design of it by using red phosphorus. And they put that on the matchbox.
Yeah.
And it was like safety matches.
That's how we got those?
And it made Sweden the leading exporter of matches.
Snyggt.
And made matches the most important Swedish export.
Fan vad nice. För att det var man kunde när jag växte upp och började tjuvröka kunde man köpa såna här cowboy-tändstickor. För på västerntiden så knäppte man med tummen på själva stickan och så tändes den. Det tyckte jag var coolt. Man kunde även ta det på stöven, du vet. För den är självantändande. Yeah.
In 1900, matches were a necessity for smoking and the lighting of stoves and gas appliances, among other uses, and therefore demand.
Och att tända på toaletten när man har skitit. Tänder man en tändsticka så luktar det bättre.
Oh, for the smell. Yeah. I used to do that when I took it.
I've never done it, but
I've done it when like, oof, damn. Because we used to say that. Oh, strike a match. That was the thing.
Yeah.
But the demand was high. And then if you have a monopoly, you can raise the price whatever the fuck you want.
Yes.
Without affecting the quantity sold. Because you have
alla måste ha det.
No competition.
Yeah.
So he kept expanding by acquiring match companies all over Europe. And then he set up an affiliate, Kreuger and Toll, albeit in the U.S., and then with somebody named Lee Higginson and Company in New York, and formed the International Match Corporation.
Wow.
They eventually came to control. Guess how much in the world? How much match?
How much matches?
How much of the match production in the world they control?
Well, okej, vi säger att inte Kina är med i mixen då.
It's in the world.
Säg 80% då.
Close. 75% of the world production of matches. Yeah.
Shit.
But he didn't stop there. From 1925 to 1930, a lot of countries, as you may know, suffering after the First World War.
Yeah.
So Kreuger, with all his money, started giving loans to governments.
What the fuck?
To speed up reconstruction. Hey, man, I heard what happened to you after the war, man. for just 17%. I will let you borrow $3.2 billion or whatever you have as your currency.
Is this Belgium? Is it Brussels? How are you doing?
Y'all got euro. So as security, governments would grant him, because you're like, oh, what? Thank you. What can we do for you? I'll take your match companies.
Han bara älskar tändstickor.
They would grant him the match monopoly in their country. So Kreuger gained monopoly match in production, sales, or distribution, or complete monopoly.
På 60-talet så fanns det en hippiegrupp som hette The Matchstick Men. Är det här han?
It's his kid. But the agreements differ from country to country. The capital raised to a large extent through loans from Swedish and American banks. That's how he was getting his money, combined with issuing a large amount of participation debentures. Kreuger also often moved money from one corporation he controlled to another.
Yeah.
So it's kind of fake money.
It's fake money ahead of its time.
Way ahead of its time. And then he gained control of forestry industry, most of it in northern Sweden.
Ja, och nu inser han det. Vart ska jag fan få... Ja, just det, behöver virke. Trees!
Let's get the trees! And he planned to become head of a cellulose cartel. He also attempted to create a telephone monopoly in Sweden, too.
Of course.
He wants to own everything. He founded a pulp manufacturer in 1929. And he tried to acquire the majority shares of Ericsson.
Alltså, ett telefonmonopol med en man som är besatt av tändstickor. Så det hade varit så här typ. Hej farmor, hej. Så hör man bara så här, prata mer om tändstickor. nej, alltså farmor har precis fyllt år. Vad hände på kalas? Fick du någon tårta? Prata mer om tändstickor.
It's like, why does it keep happening?
Yeah.
Hey, you say something, baby?
Okej, då lägger jag på då.
You say something, baby? Hello, baby. For some reason I want to strike a match.
De stängde av mitt abonnemang. Well, should have talked more about matches.
And that's the commercial. Yeah. Should have talked more about matches. Ericsson. Ding, ding.
Brought to you by Kreuger.
He tried to acquire the mining company in the gold mine in Boliden. Ball bearing manufacturer SKF. The bank Skandinaviska Kreditaktiebolaget and other large companies like that, as you can see. And then outside of Sweden, he acquired the Deutsche Unions Bank in Germany, Union de Banque à Paris in France. And he often did it with their own money. Like he's like using them. And they were made both necessary and possible by his invention, decades ahead of his time, Enron-style financial engineering, which reported profits when there were none and paid out ever-increasing dividends by attracting new investment.
Jesus.
It's a Ponzi scheme. And looting the treasury of a newly acquired company. So he'd take them in, pull all the money out, use that to bring in the next company.
Shit. Gud vad stressigt.
Bruh. Yes. By 1931, Kreuger controlled some 200 companies.
Ja, men vad fan. Jag tycker för mycket. Jag drar gränsen vid 198. Helt klart. Ja, det klarar man, men inte över 200.
In 1929, at the peak of his career, his fortune was thought to be worth 30 billion Swedish crowns. And that's equivalent to approximately that's almost crazy.
A fake number that no one knows.
A trillion crowns.
Yeah.
In 2000.
Yeah.
Consisting of more than 200 companies.
In 2000 or now?
In the year 2000, it says.
Jesus.
And I know, which now is 1 point something trillion.
Yeah.
In the same year, total loans made by Swedish banks were barely 4 billion SEK. So he himself had almost 1,000% of the money that Swedish banks had.
Jesus Christ, det är helt sjukt.
So he did this monopoly thing. These schemes that he was doing have been around, versions of it, for a time. But Kreuger was creative of inventing new ways of financing business while making sure that he kept control of his companies. He financed his activities by selling shares of bonds of his company as well as through large bank loans. The use of debt in addition to equity is called leverage, and it magnifies both gains and losses. So it's just fucking lying. That's all it, I mean.
Bra lögn. Alltså bra lögnare.
So then he invented dual class ownership shares. So to make it look like, the way I understand this, he makes it look like you and I are shareholders, right? But we're not just shareholders. One of us is a Class A shareholder, and one of us is a Class B shareholder. And the Class A shareholder has way less power than the Class B shareholder, who has 1,000 times as much power and control as me, the Class A shareholder, who thinks I'm just a shareholder. So he like makes himself the Class B shareholder.
Yeah.
See what I mean?
Jag borde nog, min narcissistiska drag borde nog, I want to be A. Like, if I'm going to be Class A. No, I want to be Class A with the power. I mean, the terminology.
B was the one.
I know, yeah.
Exactly.
It's like, why is B better? I want the power.
I'm Class A.
I'm Class A, motherfucker. He
probably sells it like that, too. Well, you can either be Class A or Class... Class bullshit. B for bullshit.
Gesturing how much it stinks with a wave with your by your nose. Oh, you could be Class B, or you can
want.
Or you can be Class A.
You want to be an idiot.
Yeah.
One of his biographers called it an ingenious piece of financial engineering. He began with Swedish Match, where he divided the common shares into two classes. Each class would have the same claim to dividends and profits, but the B shares. I'm sorry, A had the bigger one, B was the worst.
Oh, that was, okay.
B shares would carry 1/1000th of a vote compared to one vote for each A share. And he had the A shares. I had it backwards.
Men nu börjar jag tycka det var dumt. Vi borde ha gjort det som vi trodde att han gjorde.
He should have done that.
Yeah.
Maybe things would have gone differently for them.
I get the A shares and you get the B shares. Which one is better? Well, the B shares.
And that still goes on, but now there's more regulations when people start figuring this shit out.
Yeah.
But back then, no regulations.
No.
As I said, there were restrictions. There's the tech stuff is kind of boring. The share stuff is kind of boring. He invented another financial instrument which continues to be used. It's nowadays known as the American Depository Receipts. And it was called Kreuger and Toll American Certificates.
Vad innebär de då?
American investors hadn't seen investments like this. It's part bond, part preferred stock, part profit sharing option. It just sounds muddy already.
Yeah.
And it enables investors to gain exposure to a foreign company that had been paying dividends of 25%. And it will be backed by the largest private loan to a foreign government like Germany. And then they get this biggest loan, so it probably makes it look like it's more money that's coming in because of this big loan. And in the midst of growing panic, investors went crazy, and they're like, "Oh, all this money is here because it's coming from a government," and they bought $28 million of the new securities, and it happened 2 days after the giant stock market crash, Black Monday, 1929.
Shit.
So it looks so it looked so good that they bought it 2 days after the biggest stock market crash, the legendary.
Crazy. Ja, verkligen.
He owned a lot of bona fide companies, as I said, over 200 companies, but he was an avid gambler. Is this guy the greatest guy ever? I gotta fund this.
Vad du sög på den karamellen. Vad roligt.
He must not care about money, right?
No.
A lot of people, I've heard about people.
Wow.
I know a professional poker player. Money is like money isn't a real thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I this has to be why this guy's like
Säkert.
This. If you have more money than your company's bank, you probably money is whatever.
Yeah.
So he played with his personal money and especially the money of the corporations he controlled.
Vad hittar han för pokerspelare att spela med som kan liksom syna?
Imagine him at the roulette at the table. I'm gonna put Germany on black.
Yeah.
This is all the money from the German company on black. Let's go, baby.
Okay, Texas Hold'em. Ivar. France. Anyone want to call it? No, we don't have any. We have no.
I don't have $4 trillion. I
have keys to my wife's Mercedes. Get the fuck out of here with that shit.
Why is his wife on the table?
Because the Mercedes wasn't enough.
He treated most of his companies as if they were exclusively his personal property.
Oh, herregud.
Getting you fuck. He frequently transferred funds from one corporation to another corporation with little formality. Just like, let's just take the money from here. You know what? Bring the Deutsch.
Yeah.
He had dummy corporations, holding corporations, the shit they're still doing to this day. And it helped him hide exactly what he was doing because he was fucking around like that. He also used other people as front men to conceal his actions. For example, when he acquired almost half of the outstanding shares of Diamond Match Company so as not to raise antitrust concerns with the USA, because the US is looking into shit like this. That shit is not. He frantically gambled with securities in 1932 of corporations that he controlled with the vain attempt to reverse their falling prices. So he's like, you know what? I'll fix this. Let's hit the roulette table.
Wow.
That was his way of fixing.
Oh my God.
Keeping his Ponzi scheme up was like, I'm gonna play blackjack.
Men från geni till vansinne. För att det låter ju som att han var väldigt uttänkt.
Yeah, right.
Men han tror ändå att han kan lösa det med roulette.
It's like the end of a horror movie.
Yeah.
When like the bad guy starts slipping up.
Yeah.
Or thriller. I shouldn't say horror movie, like a thriller.
And you don't buy it.
It's like, come on, man.
Oh, yeah.
But now this is proof this shit happened.
Shit.
Starts getting stressed out. Between the end of February and early March 1932, he needed to make over $10 million for payments, which nowadays would have been $200 million. Mm-hmm. So 2 billion crowns.
Har du 200 miljoner tills på fredag? Yep.
And it was for payments including Kreuger and toll dividends. His speculations were in foreign currencies, equities, and derivatives. And he also signed loan agreements with governments not knowing where the funds would be coming from. It's like, I got you, man. I got you,
wow.
man. It's me. It's Kreuger, man. I'm good for it.
Hey, Portugal! It's Poland. Yeah, whatever. Can you send over...
It's Poland. Hey, I know how many of you guys it takes to do a light bulb. So
Skicka lite pengar bara.
So here's an example. The majority stake he had bought in a chemical company in Gresham, Germany, returned 15 times his investment after 2 years.
Okay.
When they became a part of IG Farben. And part of his attraction for investors were the high dividends that he paid. Therefore, he had to also make sure he had the money to pay those dividends.
Yeah.
It's never been established how much he lost in these efforts in early 1932, but it's been estimated to be between $50 million and $100 million.
Oh, shit.
In 1932.
Wow.
Which today would be 1.5 and 2 billion.
Oh.
Just lose it.
Alltså. Jävla stolpskott alltså.
He made a loan to Poland.
Mm-hmm.
And as he signed it, he was like, I don't know where this I don't have it. I ain't got it. He made a deal with Germany.
He's just giving up.
He's still signing deals though. More power to him.
Jag kan inte sluta göra det.
I can't stop signing. I'm a signaholic.
Ja. Det finns inga pengar. Här.
There you go. Hey, I got a Germany deal next week. $2 billion today is what he signed for a deal with Germany. With the conditions that Germany signed a plan that he had and award him a match monopoly. It's like, still dealing with the match. Let's do it, baby.
Han är ju tändsticksgalen alltså.
But at the time, he already owned 70% of the German match production. So they're like, take the 30% more.
Yeah.
Fuck it. You already have it.
Yeah,
you basically have it.
Yeah.
So he still had he couldn't pay for that shit. It's starting to build up.
Kan det vara så här att han kände någon som var så här Rain Man, alltså en stereotyp av en autist.
Yeah.
Och bara, jag ska fan se till att äga alla tändstickor och sen ska jag slänga dem på golvet. Och så får vi se om man kan räkna ut dem. Kan det vara så? Och jag säger inte på något sätt att
And bet on it.
And bet on it. Let's go to Vegas, baby!
He has the French Prime Minister Aristide Briand.
Klassiker, shout out.
Decided to repay, because he was in big trouble, right, 1932. And his prime minister says, you know what? I loaned $75 million. So I'll pay you early. I happen to have it on me.
Nej.
In my sock.
In my sock? In my sock drawer?
So they agreed to pay it early, and that was right on time for the Germany money.
Oh, really?
So it came right in, and he probably was sweating.
Jävla lyllo. Fan vilken lyckost.
So he got lucky in that one.
Yeah.
And they're saying either he like negotiated, hey man, I need that money. Yeah. Or it just happened like that. But regardless, he got the money at the last minute.
Yeah.
Didn't get exposed as a fraud.
Shit.
He didn't get exposed.
Shit.
The total loans by Kreuger to foreign states have been estimated to $387 million in 1930.
Yeah.
Which is $7.1 to $10.4 billion back in 2013. That's when they did this estimate. That's a lot of fucking money.
I'm numb by the numbers by this point.
I know I'm going long.
No. It's just that how much worse can it even get?
Well, I'm gonna do every country.
Okay. No, I mean how much worse for him.
I'm telling you, here's where we at.
Okay.
Poland, 6 million.
Uh-huh.
And then it went back to Poland in 5 years later, 32.4 million. Free State Danzig, I don't know what that is, in 1930, 1 million. Greece, 1 million pounds in 1931. In 1926, 1 million pounds. Ecuador, 2 million in 1927. And then again, 1929, 1 million. These are dollars.
Yeah.
France, 1927, 75 million.
Yeah.
1928, Yugoslavia, 22 million. 1928, Hungary, 36 million. 1929, Germany, 125 million. 1928, Latvia, 6 million. Romania, 1930, 30 million. Lithuania, these are still dollars, 1930, 6 million. Bolivia, 1930, 2 million. Estonia, 1928, 7.6 million crowns.
Yeah.
Guatemala, 1930, $2.5 million. Turkey, 1930, $10 million. Part of the young loan they did to Germany in 1930, and the U.S., $15 million. He planned to issue a loan of $75 million to Italy, known as the Italian bond, in 1930, but it never got completed.
Okay.
And then a Swiss banker in 1931, during a meeting, warned of a bankruptcy of Kreuger's match company. He's like, this can't hold up. And then rumors start spreading by mid-1931 that this shit is unstable.
You know how you build a house with matches?
matches, and what's it called? I can't think right now. Marshmallows. Say, wait a minute. Is this a chair? Can I sit on this? Sure.
He says he has the Chrysler building built with matches.
So then Kreuger, who reportedly has more money than Sweden, turned to Sveriges Riksbank.
For a loan, maybe.
Yeah, and it's the second time in his life that he went to them.
Mm-hmm.
He's been in the game since 1911. It's 1932.
Yeah.
And this is only his second time going to the bank for a loan.
Yeah.
Because he's been having all this fake money.
Mm.
Shit. But at the time, he had started out... okay, I'm sorry. Second time asking for them to support raising large increases in his loans.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, I need to borrow for real. But they were saying, bro, you have loans for about half of the Swedish reserve right now. Sorry.
Help yourself for a cup of coffee on the way out.
Exactly. Nej, förlåt. So at the time he went to the United States.
Uh-huh.
And he was asked to return to Europe
immediately.
For a meeting with the Riksbank.
Oh yeah.
They're like, "What's going on, man?" And he went to France, arriving in Paris on the 11th of March in 1932. He had a meeting with Ruth, and it was scheduled to take place 2 days later. He met with Christer Littorin, the president of his holding company.
Yeah.
And he met with Oscar Rydbeck.
Yeah.
Who taught him finances.
Yeah. Good job teaching.
On March 11th to prepare. But the day after that meeting, and the day before, he was supposed to meet with the Riksbank.
Yeah.
And like, it's like a come to Jesus meeting.
Yeah.
He was found dead in his apartment.
Oh shit.
At Avenue Victor Emmanuel in France. And they questioned his servants, because he had servants. He had a French maid, Mademoiselle Baralt, and a janitor.
I was never paid. He told me he owed me a lot of French friends.
He ordered a croissant and he never ate it.
He said I would get my salary from another guy, Monsieur Boulebout.
So they had talked to him in the morning, and then the French police and a physician came to the conclusion that he shot himself sometime between 10:45 a.m. and 12:10 p.m. There was a 9mm semi-automatic found on the bed beside the body. He knew the jig was up. So how old was he then? He was born in 1880.
1880.
This is 1932.
So now, 50-something.
Yeah, so he's pretty young.
Yeah.
He left a sealed envelope in the room addressed to Christer Littorin, which contained 3 other sealed envelopes. And they're like, what type of joke is this?
It's a Russian doll situation?
One was addressed to his sister, which had 3 envelopes in it. No, I'm just kidding. And one to, I don't know who this is, one to somebody else, Sune Schill, and one addressed to Littorin, the first one.
Yeah.
In the letter to Littorin, it was written in English. For some reason, and he wrote,
"Can I borrow some?"
Littorin was Swedish.
Can I borrow some money?
He said, "Here's my, you're on my life insurance. Put it all on black."
Yes,
but my dying wish, put it all on black. Always bet on black. Pow.
Put my mother's house on 22 black.
France on 12. He wrote, I have made such a mess of things that I believe this to be the most satisfactory solution for everybody concerned.
Huh. For him?
Please take care of these 2 letters also. See that 2 letters which were sent a couple of days ago by Jordal to me at 5 Avenue Victor Emmanuel are returned to Jordal. The letters were sent by Majestic. Goodbye now, and thanks. I.K. He was interred in Norra Begravningsplatsen in Stockholm. His family believed he got murdered.
Okay.
It was only more than 30 years after his death that many previously classified Kreuger and Toll documents and Ivar Kreuger documents were made public.
Mm-hmm.
Based on these and his insights in his brother's business and life, his brother Torsten wrote a book in 1963 called Kreuger and Toll, describing how the company had been taken over and how the other Kreuger companies were taken over. In 65, there was another book published. Supposed to be another tell-all. Seems like they're trying to just make
varför skulle det vara ett bevis för att det var mord? Om de har tagit över företaget så är det så här.
The 65 book was called Sanningen om Ivar Kreuger. And it was published in English as The Truth at Last, claiming his brother had been murdered. I'm pretty sure he killed himself.
Of course he did. Det är väl... varför skulle han göra det? Okay, let's read the countries one more time.
And then when he died, after the death, there was something that they called in the financial industry the Kreuger crash.
Oh.
It hit investors and companies worldwide, particularly hard in the U.S. He did a lot of business there. In 1933 and 34, the U.S. Congress passed several security reform legislations that were meant to prevent a repeat of the Kreuger crash.
Wow.
These bills were largely successful in their mission, and the American financial industry did not witness frauds of the same magnitude until the Enron scandal and Bernie Madoff's Ponzi scheme.
Shit.
So this guy really did a number.
Folk var lite nervösa när han dog, kan man säga.
Yeah.
Samtidigt sitter Rickard Tändare, läser tidningen och tänder sin pipa med samma devis som han använt kvällen innan.
Exactly.
Tänkte life is good.
They said of the $630 million worth of assets that the company said they had, $200 million came from the match business. $30 million were in the bank, and the other $400 million were merely categorized as other investments.
Bra, härligt, luddigt.
When the company finally went bankrupt at the end of March in 1932, claimed assets of $250 million in 1932 turned out to be non-existent.
Wow. Oh, what a fraud.
Yeah. That's about it, man. The Wallenberg family was affected. Stand by company group Handelsbanken.
Shit.
They all were affected.
Yeah.
And eventually took over the Kreuger empire.
Shit.
Swedish Match recovered shortly after the crash because everybody needed matches.
Yeah.
And most of the industrial companies did because he bought companies that were doing their thing. And Swedish Match received a large government guaranteed loan that was fully repaid after several years.
Skönt. Ifall man gillar rökare. Men historiskt sett, är han sedd som en bedrägare eller finns det någonting att han liksom bidrog? Alla de här företagen levde ju under hans tid ändå, även om de levde på en lögn.
Yeah.
Men är han sedd bara som en bedragare eller finns det också som att han var en framgångsrik affärsman på sitt sätt?
I think he's seen, like, somebody had the term that I put in here as the last line of this, of genius swindler.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we have to end it on. You know what I mean? Like,
it encapsulates both those things.
Yeah, he was a genius.
Yeah.
He was ahead of the game. He obviously was really, really smart, and he took on the lessons he learned, but he did it for bad.
Yeah.
Kind of bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Depends how you look at it.
Oh, it's fucking bad, men det finns ju värre saker.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the story of the genius swindler, Ivar Kreuger. Sorry, I mean that's our longest episode yet, but that shit was
great. Yeah, I loved it. Yeah,
crazy story.
It was so worth it. När du sa att han hade ett spelberoende, där fan alltså. Oh my god.
It's got the personality of it anyway.
At like minute 48, but and he had a gambling problem. Man bara, yes!
You put that in my veins!
Vad driver Ivar? Ja, nu förstår vi. It's the slot machines.
Yeah, man.
Cool, thank you so much.
Yeah,
det var fan vilken historia.
Okay.
Aldrig hört.
I found it because I just looked up. I watched that Bernie Madoff thing.
Yeah.
Some of it, the documentary. I watched the
first. Yeah.
There's a documentary about Bernie Madoff. And I was kind of fascinated by it. And I was like, there has to be a Swedish Bernie Madoff.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
And I was looking for like Swedish Ponzi scheme. I just typed that in and this guy came up.
Nice.
And I was like, oh, wow. And I read about it and then, that's it.
Vad nice. Kul.
Interesting story, man. And there's probably more. You know, I was jumping around a little bit. But
det är alltid när vi försöker ju ändå liksom få ihop det på. Fan vad kul. Alltså, hoppas det här inspirerar er också att skicka fler grejer. Skicka till vår Gmail, teachmesweden@gmail.com.
Yes.
Eller, om man vill skicka det på svenska, teachmesweden@gmail.com. Om ni vill att Jonathan läser det så skicka det på engelska. Om ni vill att jag läser det, skicka det på mitt modersmål.
Yes.
Så ser vi till att vi får det.
Yeah, and patreon.com/teachmesweden if you want to support. As little as 10 crowns, you can be a Patreon subscriber and help us out. There's a little bit of work behind this, and you get like ad-free episodes and other stuff.
Ja, men fan gör det så vi tjänar lite pengar. På tal om att tjäna pengar, hur går det med Laugh House?
Go to laughhouse.se to get tickets, man. Hurry up, because these shows are selling out. People are coming to check out some comedy, mostly English shows, and we also have our Svartskalle stand-up shows. So where we book a bunch of Svartskallar, make you laugh. Yeah, so check us out.
Cool.
And what about you, man?
Presensimpro.se. Buy the tickets. Come and laugh.
Yes. We'll catch y'all later, man. It's been Jonathan Rollins.
Och Erik Broström.
Teaching you Sweden. Peace.
Finansfred. I don't know what that means.